Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you. My name is Sini Bey. I am a Muslim in our lovely community here in Grand Rapids. I'm also a hospice and palliative care physician and would love to welcome you to our night of remembrance of loved ones. Join us in a time of contemplation, celebration, and reflection.
Namaste, and blessings and greetings from the West Michigan Hindu Temple. My name is Fred Stella. I'm the Pracharak, or outreach minister there. Tonight's theme is resilience, and I want to mention that according to Hindu Dharma, we are born with resilience. It's a human trait. It's a part of the immortal, undying, perfect soul within us. Now, sometimes that resilience gets covered. Sometimes that resilience doesn't shine through individually. But when resilience forms as a community, it is unstoppable and it is comforting. So let's think about that tonight as we proceed.
Hello, my name is Hung Soo. I'm the Abbot Emeritus of the Grand Rapids Buddhist Temple. Within Buddhism, compassion and wisdom stand as equals. The Buddha taught us we are what we think. All that we are is a result of what we have thought. With our thoughts, we create the world.
Mitaki piyuha chawashte na pechiuza pinaha. Wichake haya. Yuha takunkicha pina oyate wa unjilapi. Oheche tuelo chanke mitakuye oyasi. Hello, my relatives. I greet you all with a warm, heartfelt handshake. Truly, we are all related. We are all part of one human family. This is the truth. All my relations.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us as we remember those that we have lost.
Hi, my name is Ellie.
And my name's Lucas.
We are members of the Bahá'í faith.
When we greet each other, we say Allah Apah,
which means God is most glorious.
Grace and peace to all of you. My desire is to welcome you to a space where you have a sense of belonging and perhaps a sacred connection with others and with the place that you're viewing this. Wherever you find yourself and wherever you are, we welcome you. So I'm going to start with lighting a candle to honor our time together in this Interfaith memorial gathering. Hi, my name is Margarita Solis-Deal, and I am the director of Dominican Center at Marywood. I am inspired by my Catholic Christian tradition that's grounded in the Latino culture, where candles are lit for prayer intentions. To light a candle for someone, it indicates that you're saying a prayer to another, and the candle symbolizes that prayer. It is from that inspiration that this candle burns for you, for our community, and for our world. As the light of the candle symbolizes our prayer intentions, let our prayer intentions stay in solidarity with our human family, a family that seems in these days to meet at the intersection of hope and uncertainty, of joy and grief, and of peace and grace. So we find ourselves in our own spaces viewing this. And I want to tell you a story. When the pandemic got closer to us in March, I stayed really close to the statistics, the rates of COVID tests, the stats of negatives and false positive tests. And of course, I paid attention to the COVID deaths and the disparities that those statistics revealed. I stood centered in fear. I know that I speak from a place of privilege because I don't think I've ever experienced that before. My faith grounds me in hope and love. And so this fear that consumed me the first few weeks of the pandemic was something I needed to resist as I was starting to see it take form in me. So what did I do? Well, this was a time, or that time, it was a time that you couldn't find seeds anywhere, and I wanted to grow food. Now, I've been gardening for the past 3 years and wanted to see if I can start doing that. Well, I remember I had some seeds somewhere in my apartment, and I found them in a closet. I found some soil in the garage, and I planted the seeds. I planted tomatoes, cilantro, and green beans. I really wanted to grow food, and I usually do that by a seedling. But this time I decided to do that right from a seed. Well, the first time since maybe when I was in elementary school did I plant seeds. And it was so much fun to watch them grow daily. As I care for them, I was able to watch life take form and shape, life that may nourish my body someday. I felt my hope continue to grow, and while death was being experienced by our global community, I grounded myself in hope that new life is possible. I believe it was maybe in May that I took the seedlings and I said they were ready to plant in the garden. Well, the cold air came through and took the green beans, and the cilantro somehow disappeared. Perhaps a rabbit animal friend came to visit. But the tomato plant took root, and I watched it grow from a seed to a seedling, and it also bared fruit. It weathered heat, it weathered the rain, the cold evenings, the garden animal friends, and it produced fruit still. It produced life. And while I don't even think I can fill a quart of tomatoes, watching growth happen and to enjoy the fruits of that growth has given me great hope. It is in hope where I stand today, remembering lives lived, my own mother and my father who have passed. Fear is a dark place, and yet it just takes the light of a small candle to dissipate the fear and dissipate the darkness. Scripture from John reminds us that light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. May you stay in the light, and remember, just a little candle burning brighter can dispel the darkness. May your light burn from love, and may it warm the memories of those you loved. Grace and peace to all of you.
Right now, I'd like to share a chant. It's entitled From This Sleep Lord, and it's inspired by our Hindu scriptures known as the Upanishads. And in the Upanishads, it is stated that the devotee should see that life is like a dream. Now, many people have criticized that approach, thinking that, well, if life is as unreal as a dream, then what's the point of anything? But really, dreams do have a level of reality, not as hard and fast as our waking reality. In the same way, that deeper reality of being a part of the divine is a greater reality than our waking state. Whenever we feel that we are apart from God, separate from God, we are in a dream. And when we awaken knowing full well that we are a part of that great divinity. From this sleep, Lord, will you wake me? From this dream, Lord, will you wake me? In thee I dive, in thee I rise, in thee I dive, in thee I rise, in thy sea, in thee, in thy sea, in thee. From this sleep, Lord, will you wake me? From this dream, Lord, will you wake me? In thee I'm born, in thee I die, in thee I'm born, in thee I die, to live forever in thee, to live forever in thee. From this sleep, Lord, will you wake me? From this dream, Lord, will you wake me? In thee I dive, in thee I rise, in thee I dive, in thee I rise, in thy sea, in thee, in thy sea, in thee. From this sleep, Lord, will you wake me? From this dream, Lord, will you wake me? In thee I'm born, in thee I die, in thee I'm born, in thee I die, to live forever in thee, to live forever in thee. From this sleep, Lord, will you wake me? From this dream, Lord, will you wake me? In thee I dive, in thee I rise, in thee I dive, in thee I rise, in thy sea, in thee, in thy sea, in thee. From this sleep, Lord, will you wake me? From this dream, Lord, will you wake me? In thee I'm born, in thee I die, in thee I'm born, in thee I die, to live forever in thee, to live forever in thee. From this sleep, Lord, will you wake me? From this dream, Lord, will you wake me? From this sleep, Lord, will you wake me? From this dream, Lord, will you wake me? From this sleep, Lord, will you wake me? From this dream, Lord, will you wake me?
If there ever was a year that we needed resilience, 2020 is that year. We all went through quite a lot this year, starting with the Australian bushfires that destroyed 47 million acres of beautiful land. This was followed by the global COVID pandemic that isolated us from each other, the whole world. And then, as if that wasn't enough, the Black Lives Matter movement highlighting the social injustices and systemic racism. We all experienced those things together, but each one of us, I imagine, probably also had our own story that ran parallel to this story. My mother passed away 7 years ago, and since that time, my father had been living with us. In the last year, he had been declining. He had dementia, which started to really manifest itself more and more. Starting the beginning of this year, he began to forget who we were, where he was, how to do some of the basic things. And it was really hard to watch the patriarch of our family, somebody who we always relied on to guide us and help us, wither away like an ice cube, just slowly melting. His decline continued, and on March 3rd, he passed away. It wasn't just a father that I lost on March 3rd. I, for the first time in my life, was without a parent. It sounds comical, but I felt like an orphan. And I had to redefine myself, who I was, because I was no longer a daughter in the way that I had always been. And this may sound easy, but it was not. At the time, we were in lockdown, and I was isolated from my community, which I relied on heavily in the past years as I, struggled with different things. I also felt like I needed to support my coworkers and in my work, and wasn't really sure how I was going to do any of that. This was not a moment of resilience for me. It was a journey. It was a process. I find that many of you can probably relate to this, is that my faith is foundational to everything that I do. It was foundational to my grief. It was foundational to my grieving process. Islam tells us that this world is a temporary place, and we come from Allah, and to Allah we shall return. I took a lot of comfort in that. I took a lot of comfort knowing that there's a better place for us, even though I may not know the details of that. I was isolated from my community, but I had my family close by, and just knowing that my friends who had been with me throughout this journey were still there to pray for me, to talk with me, was a great sense of comfort. I also spent quite some time alone, walking out in nature, spending time outdoors, thinking, reflecting, and then my work. My work also gave me great meaning during this time, and it showed me how much I had to be grateful for. All of those things helped me through this process. It helped me become resilient. And it varied day by day. Some days I relied heavily on my faith, and maybe not so much on my family and friends. But that changed from day to day, from moment to moment even. And in the end, I learned that resilience comes from a variety of things. It's not one thing. For me, it comes from my faith, from gratitude, my community, and also grace. Some days I just had to give myself grace of not being resilient. Hopefully this will get me through the rest of this year.
This is a memorial song that I offered. The words of the song express the temporality of life. It's just like life is maybe like maybe a snowfall in April or May, or just the shadow of the clouds moving over the land. In other words, it's making the analogy between our own life and the fleetingness of existence, how things are here today and gone tomorrow. And so this is a good meditation for us to live our life. always remember the departed. One of the legends or one of the stories that they tell is that when a person leaves this life, they travel upon the heavenly road. It's in the physical manifestation part of it. It's the Milky Way. Milky Way. They call that Wanahi Chanku, the spirit road. And so none of us knows our fate. None of us knows what our end shall be. And so this is why they always say we have to pray for our departed loved ones. And through our good deeds, the deeds that we do in the name of that departed loved one, then we can push them back up on that road. Get them back up on that road. All the deeds, the selfless, the altruistic, the self-abnegating acts of service that we do for the benefit and well-being of all, for the sole purpose of praising God, praising the Wakantunka, the most great spirit. Then we do that in the name of that loved one, and we can be assured of their swift transition and journey onwards throughout all the worlds of God. And may it be so for our loved ones that we remember at this time. Hoche te ulo, hao mitaku oyasi.
I'm Jennifer Beahan. I represent Center for Inquiry Michigan and the Secular Perspective. Today I will be performing an original piece entitled Life Song, and I'm dedicating this to Ed Brayton, a dear friend and board member at CFI, who died just recently.
In Buddhism, we're taught it's not what happens to us or around us, it's our response. In life, many things happen. Many things happen which are beyond our control. Wonderful things happen, the birth of a child, a new job opportunity, the making of a new friend. And things that are not wonderful happen to us. A tornado, a disease, the death of a friend. What we can do with these things that are beyond our control is our response. An old story expresses this idea. A poor farmer and his wife had a son and a strong horse. The father, the son, and the horse worked many hours every day to provide food for the family. They also were able to grow enough food to make a little extra so they could buy cloth and other necessities. One day, the farmer's horse ran off. His neighbors came and said, "What bad luck?" "We'll see," the farmer said. The next day, the horse came back with 3 beautiful wild horses. "How wonderful for you," his neighbor said. "We'll see," the farmer answered. The farmer's son tried to tame the horses, to teach them to be ridden. But one of the horses threw him from its back, and the boy broke his leg. The neighbors came and exclaimed, "How awful." "We'll see," the farmer said. The following day, soldiers from the king came to conscript strong men and young boys to fight in a war that the king was considering starting. When the soldiers of the king saw the farmer's son had a broken leg, they let him stay, and they took others. "How fortunate for you," the farmer's neighbor said. "We'll see," the farmer answered. One of the 4 noble abodes is equanimity, not allowing the wonderful things in life or the not wonderful things in life to control our wisdom. Remember the young mother who brought her dead baby to the Buddha. He told her he could help her if she brought him mustard seed from a house where no one had ever died. In the world 2,500 years ago, there was no house that did not know death. After a futile search, the young mother understood what the Buddha was teaching her. There is death and sorrow in life. There's also birth and joy. These are both part of life. The sun rises and the sun sets. As we walk through life, if we remember this, we can respond with understanding and awareness to whatever comes our way. May peace, health, and equanimity be with you all.
Freed from your cage, now you can fly. Bird, now you can soar forever. No longer of this world, yet we're not far apart. I can feel your wings, the beating of my heart. Bird, sign of the ancient mystery. Bird, you bring a song from heaven. from your cage, now you can fly. Bird, now you can soar forever. No longer of this world, but we're not far apart. I can feel your wings, the beating of my heart. You're always in my heart. Bird, don't fly away. Don't fly away. Don't fly In this poem, please feel free to join in the refrain, we remember. When green leaves turn to yellow and red, we remember. When white clouds float in a blue sky, we remember. When we breathe in the scent of a rose, we remember. When we hear a child's laughter, we remember. As our heart aches for those taken too soon, we remember. As we hope for better days, we remember. As we separate from each other, we remember. As we gather together online, we remember. In sunlight, in moonlight, under starlight, in a cool breeze, in a warm rain, on soft earth, we remember.
My name is Ashley, and on behalf of the Memorial Service Planning Committee, I want to thank you for joining us for the first half of our event today. The second half of our program is going to be an interactive piece via Zoom. If you registered for that, please follow the link in your email and we'll join you on September 15 at 7:15 p.m. I hope you found a sense of comfort and community through our program today, and thanks again so much for joining us.